Morning world from Singapore. I am Amar Asrani, your host, again for today for ARR Voices. This is our second episode of Talk Show. In our first episode, we have spoken about mindfulness, and thanks to some viewers who gave their valuable comments and interacted with us. Today's attempt, we will go with the topic of relationships. As usual, we have three learned people on the show: Dr. Ram, Dr. Raji, and Mr. Arun, all accomplished in their professions and wish to contribute with their abundance knowledge. I shall introduce them one by one when I ask upon them. So, to start for the day, relationships. For me, relationship is a ship in which every human have to sail through the ocean of life. Without that, we cannot move forward. So to start with, let me introduce Dr. Ram. His actual name is Dr. B. Ramanathan. He is a biomedical scientist holding a PhD in animal science on the topic of contraceptive vaccine trial in animal model received from Bharati Darshan University, Tiruchirappalli, India in 2002, and 6 years of postdoctoral experiences in cancer and stem cell research areas. Currently, he is the founder and managing director of ACE International Private Limited Singapore, offering business management and research innovation consultation services. So, to begin today's topic, relationships or relationship, I ask upon Dr. Ram to start with. Dr. Ram, the screen time is yours.
Thank you, Amar, for providing the wonderful introduction about me. Good morning, all. Actually, everyone is having the problem how to make themselves, if they are willing to keep a good relationship in the surrounding. The peacefulness, calmness, and the action-oriented performances, the value-added things for each and every day interacting with the surrounding fixed by good relationships. Without relationships, nobody can sail their boat in the ocean, as pointed out by Mr. Amar just now. Because everyone is sailing the boat of the journey in the voyage of the sea. But how do you able to make yourself not to sink into the water? Because the relationship is allowing you, protecting you, procuring the sources and resources to sail and reach to the bank of the ocean. So seashores. So we have to plan ourselves how to make a firm relationship with the people who are surrounded with us, how to make ourselves to presentably, acceptably, or making ourselves valuably among them. Today, I just want to share a bit of understanding about my slides to provide you a nutshell talk about that. Good morning, all. My name is Dr. B. Ramanathan. I'm the founder and managing director of ACE International Private Limited. The topic today is relationships. How to build our better relationships. That is the million-dollar question so many people are asking with their surroundings. How to make themselves to be successful when they are approaching with the surrounding people. The relationship is meaning for everything. So it's not only your idea or your creativity or your business interactions or the teamwork formations and having you inside the team. There are so many acronyms we can able to coin about the relationships. For building the relationship is a way we have to learn and practice and make ourselves fit to that. It is making the real connections. It is having some good purposes. It's add-on values for your life, and it is keeping the engagement with the surrounding people. It's making taking the ownership kind of attitude. So we must need to be a person or personality to be respectful in our surrounding we must need to have good relationships or making the good building of relationships. We can value certain things, how to make ourselves be with the surrounding. So there are a lot of ways we have to follow. How to measure your qualities, how to make the different dimensions, how to frame it, make yourself meaningful for keeping the relationship with the people. It is mutually understanding on each other, how to value the relationship for each one. That way we have to be represented, we have to be resolved, and we have to replicate the mindset of each others. If you don't relevant for certain activities which are commendable or which are acceptable by others, maybe the relationship is not be successful. We have to think how to make it more meaningful. We have to follow these 5 vital relationships that every leaders, because leaders are followed by many followers. When they are not relating or when they are not connecting to the followers, it is very difficult for them. They have to make themselves as self-esteemed person, have the team-oriented personalities to connect with the surrounding people. They must need to behave like a customer relationship to retain the value with the people, not with the conditions to deteriorate or deviate from the conditions. Support the team members when they need the care and the support. We need to make ourselves be kind enough, be supportive for them to come out from their challenges. Stakeholders, we must need to give the equal value for the stakeholders, how to admire, how to appreciate for their needs or requirements. How to have the healthy relationships, we have to admire or we have to appreciate the values, how to make the equality in our gender discriminations or whatsoever. So we need to be independent. We have to love ourselves, appreciate your performance, appreciate your achievements. We have to give the importance for us, then only we can be respected by the surrounding. Stay honest, because honesty is everything. It is the root for every relationship, better performance or better need we have to discharge for the people. We must need to be a honest person. We can mention the qualities of relationship, how it is provide the support for the people, make them to be esteemed, how to relate to the connections for different mindset of the people. We must need to think about our boundaries, which have certain values or threshold, how to commit ourselves, contribute better for the needy people. And the trust is everything. And we must need to respect each other's qualities. If we don't give the respect, it may not give the value for them to retain the relationships. Better communication, strong communication is very important. The tonation or the word or the vocabulary what we are using, that is all related to the better building of the relationships. We can think about the wheel of healthy relationship. Few words are here: how to respect, how to trust and support, fairness, economic partnership, honesty, shared responsibilities, responsible kind of parenting or any kind of discharging the duties according to the situations. These are all making the wheel of healthy relationships. Relationship priorities. How do you prioritize yourself? We must need to think the way to choose, the way to alternate the conditions, the way to decide and procure the better relationships, the criteria you have to plan, how to make the solving issues for the problems. So these are all the important things make the potential solutions and giving the framework for your better relationships. No shared values, there is no relationship. So we need to admire the values for each and every one. When you are thinking about the healthy relationship, you must share the same values and vision for others. When the people who are having the toxic relationship, they need to mind about the different directions which are not willing to compromise for each other. The same way, the healthy relationship is having the absolute trust on each other. But the toxic relationship, must need to have certain kind of personality disorders or something. It is making the illness for their behaviors. Then they are using the phone or social media, any other personal discomforts. Shared values are the important thing we need to keep in mind. That is making the good relationship for everyone. We must need to admire the values like communication, influence, and commitments, and the social responsibilities, as well as making ourselves interact well and keeping the value shared relationship forever. This is the way we have to build the pyramid of a relationship in a stronger way, keeping under with the shared values. These are all the cultural alignment we need to follow, and we need to make the transparency for believing on others. Thank you so much for listening to me to know about building relationships. Thank you so much.
Yes, Dr. Ram, a very valuable insight and full info on the issue of relationships, as good as a public relation, as we say in today's corporate world, that how we handle the customers, how we need to retain the customers, how we have to be focused on the company's growth. In the same way, it is super necessary for every human to even see the smallest of the issues with their spouse or partner or kids or uncles or siblings, parents. It is a must with each, even a security guard of your building. So it is just a human interaction for everybody's wellness.
True.
That will include your wellness together. So to put more insight and info and to comment on your talk today, I invite Dr. Raji to further talk about the relationship. To introduce Dr. Raji, she is a managing director and founder of MAST, that is Masters Academy of Speech and Training Singapore, trains students bilingually to do speeches, debates, webinars, research, paper presentations, etc. She has produced TV shows and also provides motivational speeches in Tamil and English. Dr. Raji, the screen time is yours.
Thank you, Amar Asrani, and thanks, Dr. Ram and Sharmaji, for this great opportunity to be here with you all for the discussion on relationships. Well, after having listened to Dr. Ram and Amar, am I going to say something completely different from what they have already shared? No, but just a little bit of what Amar said made me think. He mentioned the relationship between your security guard. How do you respond to him? Yeah, that I think is called actually a person who actually pays attention to how he feels, what he is made up of, etc. Healthy relationships are very important. As humans, the relationships we form with other people are vital to our mental and emotional well-being. Really, our survival itself depends upon the kind of positive relationship we can share between any two people, basically. The relationship has to be conditioned by love, support, encouragement, and so on and so forth. See, for example, you have achieved something. You should have somebody with whom you can actually celebrate that achievement. That somebody should be able to appreciate you unconditionally, should be genuinely happy, and this is achieved. I'm not talking about your original achievement. I'm talking about earning someone who actually genuinely feels happy for your achievement. He is the achievement. So to attain that, we really have to work very hard on the mind-forming ingredient of ourselves, as well as the ingredients that condition our relationship with other people. The quality of relationship, it does matter. See, we should ensure that it doesn't affect our mental health, not only our mental health. When we have a relationship with another person, our mental health, that person's mental health, both cannot be affected unless we decide that we will not allow the relationship to become toxic. We cannot have anything over it. If the relationship becomes toxic, whatever be the relationship, exit out of it. Exit out of it. Yes, I can understand people frowning at my usage of the word exit out of a toxic relationship. But you see, many a relationship becomes toxic when there's no sense of happiness and satisfaction. The moment it becomes like that, only the negative qualities of both the people involved in that relationship will start building up. Psychologically, the reason for many major crimes is major failure in relationships. First of all, familial relationships. See, in familial relationships, the moment, especially in a marital relationship, the moment betrayal, fakeness, opportunistic attitude, all these start, it becomes very toxic. So what is the point of having a marital relationship when it becomes toxic? Of course, nobody will exit the moment it becomes toxic, simply because they don't recognize that it has become toxic. But my concern is, if God willing, you are able to remove the toxicity and then you are able to allow the relationship to groom itself into something else, that's well and good. But for that, not 50-50%, 100% effort from each person who is involved in the relationship is essential. 100% effort from each, it's husband and wife, 100% effort from the husband and 100% effort from the wife. For doing this, all their preconceived notions, they have to dispel. If it is possible, then that's going to be great. The earlier a person detects these pitfalls and avoids this relationship, it's better for that person's personal development and human development. See, when there is no proper bonding, what is there in the relationship? Of course, there are corporate relationships, there are business relationships, they are all different. We have, we are building it up at different level. But when you look at it at a personal level, what matters most is the genuineness, your honesty, your integrity, and then the ability to listen to each other. Whether it be a corporate relationship or a personal relationship, the ability to listen to each other. This listening, I'm not referring to just plain listening with your ears. I'm talking about that kind of an active listening where for a moment you decide to be in their shoes and actually think from their point of view. See, for doing this, you need an enormous amount of mental training. Then next, there's something called a personal space, which in each relationship, it has to be respected. Of course, many people would differ from this. By this, I don't mean that you allow your son or daughter to lock himself or herself up in a room and refusing to meet the entire family. I don't mean that. But you and your husband and you and your wife are in the same room and you are talking to each other, and suddenly he feels like reading a book and you feel like watching something, TV or whatever it is. So you let go. You don't fight and ask him, you join and watch TV along with me, and he doesn't fight with you and say, you also pick up a book. That kind of an understanding will go a long way. See, together time is different from that little bit of time called personal time. The moment we respect it, then we respect the relationship. In public life and large social circles, our relationship can be governed by rationality to avoid damage to a great extent. See, if extinction of your personality is needed in a relationship, then that relationship is definitely a no-no for you. So, I have already answered a question whether the relationship should be governed by rationality or emotion. Public life, definitely rationality. But if it's in personal life, relationship will mostly be governed by emotions. But at the same time, the emotions have to be regulated. You see, family is a place, irrespective of how your son or daughter is, irrespective of how your mother or father is, how your brother or sister is, we all decide to support each other. We all decide to encourage each other. We have decided to nudge each other. This is called a personal, decent human relationship. So my question is, it's possible for each one of us to chisel this place. You see, very simple. In the name of maintaining relationship with another person, you are saving the world. It's very easy. You see, you are doing a great social service. The moment you stop emotional damage happening, at the least to yourself, if not another person, then definitely one negative ingredient from the society is removed. This is what we want for maintaining decent relationships everywhere. So with this note, I would like to conclude this discussion today. Thank you.
Dr. Raji, the lady in the house, definitely has her point of view. She emphasized much more on personal relationship than public relationship. Now, these are two different subjects. Of course, since we are discussing on a general term, she made it very clear that rationalization is important in public relationship, and emotional decency and mental health is very much involved in a private relationship. She also emphasized, especially giving examples of the marital life that every couple is facing in today's world with hectic life schedule, and the toxicality of a human, how it causes. So better to exit from such relationship and lead the life that they are supposed to do and contribute as a whole in the society. So very well said, Dr. Raji. And yeah, I did note down that active listening is super important for to understand the other's point of view and to handle the situation and have a win-win situation kind. So definitely keeping these points in focus, and as well with your talk, I would like to call upon Mr. Arun to give his synopsis about Dr. Ram's talk and Dr. Raji's talk. To introduce Mr. Arun, as earlier also I have said, Mr. Arun, who is a chartered accountant by profession, turned life coach, mentor. He became author by publishing a very useful book called Quote Unquote, which you can find it in Amazon. And he's now turned a philanthropist. He is original founder of a Gurukulam school in a remote place in Jharkhand state of India for orphans and needy. As well, he has initiated a hospital for poor. He's, of course, my mentor too. Would be honored to know his input of the sharing of Dr. Ram and Dr. Raji. So, Mr. Arun, I would like you to take the screen time. Thank you.
Love links, ego unlinks. One factor which is the most important binder is love. If there is no love, then it's very difficult. You can't reach very far in that relationship. Even when you're dealing with strangers, that element of love and affection has to be there. Point in case could be Mother Teresa, Sindhu Thai, who recently got an award in India. Now, what really goes wrong in our relationship with anybody? Probably the number one damaging factor is ego. Ego is a stumbling block. It will not let the relationship prosper. If two people are arguing at home, and if ego comes to play, then relationship will suffer. One who says sorry does not mean that person is wrong. It simply means that that person carries more about the relationship. You might have come across people in any discussion or in any family situation, he or she will come forward and say sorry. And that person may not be wrong at all, but still he will say sorry. That shows his magnanimity. That shows that he's so open-minded. That shows that he's so much caring for the relationship. Now, these are the people on whom relationship survives. One thing Dr. Raji said, that in public life, to maintain relationship, you should have rationality. And in personal life, you should have emotions. At 100% correct. Emotion and rationality. In different situations, you need different components. Now, who takes the responsibility for relationship? If you are in having relationship with a marital relationship, you are responsible to carry it. Never think that the other party is equally responsible. No. That very thought is damaging. You think that this relationship will survive 100% because of me. Then only that the relationship will survive. No, I'm also responsible. She should also be responsible. We are equally responsible for each other. That thought is not a proper thought. You alone are responsible. That's it. You can never improve a relationship or carry a relationship if you think that the other party is equally responsible. No. Other party, you need not think what other party will do. Other party may oblige you, may not oblige you, may behave properly, may not behave properly. Relationship will run only because you want it to run. When we speak about love, we speak about unconditional love. Similarly, when you speak about relationship, it is only your responsibility, 100% your responsibility to survive, to make it survive. In most of the marital relationship, as Dr. Raji said, transparency is a problem. See, now there are two factors. She spoke about personal space. Now, personal space and transparency sometimes may conflict. Because personal space can be opposite to transparency at times. So there should be transparency. You must share everything with your partner. Everything, whatever small or big it is, you must share it. Any knowledge about any incident, anything about your extended family, if you don't share, even these things can come into play and could damage your relationship. Oh, don't tell me all this. You have been hiding all this from me. But this is a typical complaint which we hear at home. So be transparent. Transparency will bring peace to relationship. What more should I say? There are 4 aspects in life. One is health, one is money, the other is relationship, and the 4th one is spiritualism. Of the 4 aspects of life, one aspect is relationship. Now, what will happen is, if you don't have good relationship at home, your productivity will go down. Every time when you are at home, you will be in a different mood. You will not be able to take right decisions. You will not be able to do any kind of creative work. So it is necessity to have a good relationship, be it outside, be it inside. Outside, when you go with your friends, with your office colleague, if you don't have good relationship, again, it will pull you down in your performance. So in your own interest, you should have good relationship. One more aspect which we should avoid is having arguments. You can have a debate. A healthy debate is always good. But having argument at times, if the two parties are not very matured, argument may lead to something toxic. So I've seen this. If the two parties are not very matured, argument may lead to something wrong. So you should always go for a healthy debate, and you must realize one thing in a relationship: the other person is not wrong. His views are wrong. His ideas are wrong. His words are wrong. The person is not wrong. As Mahatma Gandhi would often say, hate the sin, not the sinner. So similarly, in a relationship, you may see your husband or your wife, she is not wrong, they are not wrong. It's only thing at that moment she has done something wrong. At that moment she has spoken something inappropriate. That is very important. Another aspect which Dr. Raji spoke about is a transactional relationship. Sorry, Dr. Ram spoke about is transactional relationship. In a business world, you can have transactional relationship, but in a family life, transactional relationship will not work. That a person who's having transactional relationship is called selfish. Only when you need something, you will talk to the other person. When you don't need, you will not talk. That is transactional relationship. Now that kind of mindset, that kind of approach will not work in family life at least. It may work in your office to some extent, not to a big extent, but at home it will not work at all. Only when I need, I will talk, otherwise I keep quiet. At my home, I don't talk at all. Most of the people say this to me. At my home, I don't keep quiet. I don't talk to my child. I don't talk to my wife. Nobody. Only when I need, as much as I need, I talk. But this is transactional relationship. This will not work. This will not take you very far. So these were something which I wanted to say, and I would like to repeat what I said initially. Love links, ego unlinks. So have more and more of love and avoid ego from your relationship. Thank you.
As Mr. Arun is highly experienced, and definitely he has wise words, and I'm impressed with his quotations to repeat: love links, ego unlinks, sorry is scary, and of course the Gandhi's quote, hate the sin, not the sinner. With these quotations, he also gave the input on magnanimity, open-mindedness of a relationship. He also insisted the rationality in a personal relationship is selfishness. So, excuse me. So, talking about 4 aspects of life: health, money, relationship, spiritualism. So today we spoke about the relationship aspect of life, and definitely uh, his views on personal space, as agreed, as mentioned by Dr. Raji, how personal space should be, and definitely not to have an argument to become a toxicality, having a healthy debate in any relationship. So with these aspects, I would now ask anybody to, with an open discussion on, if anybody wishes to add on to something.
Thanks, Samar. Actually, I just wanted to share a view on what Mr. Arun Sharma said. Like what he said, I agree with him. We should know the action and the actor. There's a difference between that. So precisely when he said that you hate the sin, but maybe not the sinner, I agree with him. But the only thing is the ability to differentiate between an action of evil, or the ability to differentiate between sin and the person who commits it, is not rampant in society. We are not trained mentally, or rather we have not allowed ourselves to train mentally to understand this difference. Maybe when within the family, maybe it is possible, because within a family, if your dad does like this, if your husband does like that, if your mother does like that, wife does like that, over a period of time, I'm talking about the yesterday's generation, okay? So the yesterday's generation has learned over a period of time, my mom is always like that, my wife is always like that. It's okay. You understand? It is this kind of putting up with which we should have. This is a kind of an acceptance of that person as she is or as he is. At the same time, when I mention personal space, I'm not compromising on just now what I said. What I said just now is definitely important. Each family member is accepted as for whatever he is or she is. Of course, since we are family, we try to nudge here and there a little bit to correct that person or to pull him to the mainstream of our family, all those things. But still, when Sharmaji said that each person should talk everything, there should not be that personal space, I disagree in that area because, you see, when I said personal space, I'm not referring to me not sharing about whatever happens in my life outside the house with my husband or he not sharing. I'm not referring to that. What I meant was the ability to recognize that even if you are the dearest and nearest of that particular person, he or she will still might feel to spend a few minutes away from you, not because she or he hates you, but because that is human nature. The moment we learn this human nature, then we'll stop investigating the phone call history of our spouse. I mean, like, there's basically nothing for them to hide. But the moment you start investigating, it will be very intrusive. It is this which I mean. We are not referring to current 20-year-olds or 25-year-olds. Their area of life is entirely different. Everything is private to them, from brushing to whatever. So what I'm trying to say is, the moment we respect the feeling that even if you or me feel the necessity to stay away from each other, say for a few days, or maybe the wife wants to go on a excursion or tour with her friends for about 2 or 3 days, or the husband wants to do the same thing. The moment you start respecting each other's private space, this will happen. The moment you permit it, relationship in your own home will be beautiful. It will not have the kind of a oppressive, control freaky relation. This is what I meant by the word personal space. You want to be a control freak, lose all your relationships. Thank you.
Correctly said, Dr. Raji. Control, as we can see, even we cannot even control a 2-month baby. He can recognize the pace, and if you try to tie or untie the baby, he will straight away make faces and will urinate in your face directly. So controlling aspect for human is right from the birth. This control aspect, even we cannot control our kids. Sorry. Yeah. So to repeat, I said controlling aspect is definitely a no-no in to any human, even a born baby. So controlling oneself, we have seen many cases of how learned fathers who are engineers, they want their sons to be engineers, though maybe the son would like to be a painter or a musician, but definitely the fakeness of the social norms of, hey, your family doesn't have an engineer, would definitely give those toxicality relationship between father and son. So this is just an example. So controlling aspect, we definitely cannot endure on that. Yet we have to discuss the issue that, hey, this is my way of getting success in life, so why don't you follow the same footstep? This is how we can put it across, instead of just forcing other people to have a pancake that you like. The other person doesn't like a pancake. So that's it. It's we are different. Everybody is genuine in their own sense. So we have to respect the difference and the genuineness. So Dr. Ram and Mr. Arun, would you like to add on something? Yeah.
Actually, it is a wonderful discussion today to get various kind of opinion from each and everyone. How do we relate? Because it is the personal values, it's the personality values, and it is the attitude from the culture what we learn. How do we respect each other's values? How do we engage and envisage our day-to-day life, interact well, explore well, possibly caring and supporting well? If you don't relate the values, you cannot able to sustain the good relationship in the long run. So most of the relationships fail because there is no fair, trust, and care will not be there. That's the value we have to retain. That's the value we have to procure, not only for ourselves, for the surrounding people. When you are a person or personality to be appreciable, to be admirable by the community, always you are welcome with the surrounding people forever. These are all the words we have to keep in mind. So it is the contribution, it is the connection, and it is meaning for the communication for everyone to get the good relationship, to make the strong building sequence of the relationship for their life. Thank you.
Yes. Now the whole aspect comes to communication, expression, talking, dialogue, not monologue. These are the ingredients to a relationship. Communicating, talking to each other, telling the likes and dislikes. This is definitely a must. Uh, Mr. Arun, so to sum up the whole talk, would you like to
As
add on something?
you rightly said, Amar, uh, communication is important in relationship. It is not the words which are important, it is the tonality which is more important. The same expression could be an expression of love, same expression could be an expression of anger. It depends what kind of tone are you using. So that is very important. You have seen the tonality and intention is more important than the words you are using. That is one aspect. Secondly, you'll see some people are quite negative about everything. They are always complaining about everything around them, about cinema, about politics, about neighbors. They complain about anything. What happens is it's very difficult to have good relation with such people who are negative about everything. They keep complaining. Whenever you meet them, they will complain about something. So that needs to be changed. It's not when you're having a political discussion, you can complain about something, it's okay. But then always be constantly nagging about something in society, complaining about everything. Your boss is bad, your spouse is bad, your parents are bad, your siblings are bad, everybody is bad. Now that kind of attitude will not take you very far. You will be isolated. People will like to avoid you. When you go to a gathering, they say, oh, no, let's not mix up with him. He'll pull down our energy because you're full of negativity. When you talk to somebody else, you'll pull him down. He's into high energy, you'll pull him down and you'll make him negative. Now, everybody has gone to a party for a good mood. They want to laugh, they want to enjoy, they want to socialize, they want to have good time. Now, if you're very negative, you are stopping people from having good time. So that will, in the long run, will make it very difficult for anybody to have good relationship with you. So let us be very sure that we are not in negativity. We are always in positivity. Then what happens is relationship will take a upturn. Thank you.
Tonality, correctly, uh, narrowed down to the speech tone. Tone is request, tone is order, tone is plain statement. So the audio, the hearing, the saying, again going back to the communication skills. So definitely communication skills have to be spoken about in our next future topics. So how to communicate, these aspects will be highlighted in that in that talk show. So for now, as we all heard that, or maybe listen to our learned people about relationships, I hope this info would give a total uh, uh, profit for your way of leading. Even if you have learned a few words or memorized a few things which helps you in your life, our efforts of talking with this talk show will be successful. Before signing off, I would request the viewers to kindly watch, like, subscribe, share, and definitely comment. We are open to all critique. We are having a baby steps. We are all from different areas of life. We have different viewpoints. We welcome your viewpoints to discuss and enhance this show. Thank you. Signing off for today.